Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be taking a look into my first ever winter 2020-21 forecast here. And in this video here, we'll be taking a look into the ENSO. We'll also take a look through some models. And also, of course, take a look to my forecast here. My forecast does go over temperatures, precipitation, snowfall, and also the overall forecast as well. This is not going to be my last forecast. It will be likely to be more to come in the future. So if you guys want to stay tuned for that, you can hit the subscribe button and then hit that bell notification so that you know you get an alert when I upload a video. So let's go ahead and begin talking about the ENSO here. And this is a graph that the CPC has here. And as you can see here, your winter time frame is right here. And as you can see here, they do have a 70 to 80% chance for a La Nina this winter, and I think it's likely going to happen. So that's kind of an easy start for us for forecasters if we're expecting a La Nina to happen this winter here. Now, it could be a weak or a moderate La Nina. That's part we may have to watch there as well there. Here's some models here, and here's DGAF. That is your winter right here. You see here, kind of in the mean there, it's between negative -0.5 and -1 here. Kind of in general there. That's kind of a weak to moderate La Nina kind of stage. Your moderate La Nina goes below -1 here. So, or in other words, 1 below or zero point 0.5 below average there. So, in general, we're predicting pretty much a weak La Nina this winter here. Although a moderate La Nina could be a possibility there. Here's some more models here. This is the CFS version 2. It's actually predicting a moderate La Nina. I don't think we'll get that far there, although we'll keep an eye on that here. And that's kind of the models here. So we are currently in a La Nina at this time here. And let's take a look what a typical La Nina happens during the winter time. So usually you get pretty cold temperatures across the Northern Plains. Sometimes it'll be in the upper Midwest at times. It's also quite wet across the Northwest, even including Northern California. It's also wet across the Ohio Valley region, which for us here in Kentucky, I mean, we typically do get a lot of rain during the La Nina year. And it's looking to be happening there, but we'll take a look to my forecast about that. Across, for the Southern Plains into the southeast, it's typically warmer and drier, just hot, warm and dry conditions. And the desert southwest, it's just typically dry. They were probably with more average temperatures there. But keep in mind, you'll have two different jet streams. It's not going to be a polar jet stream. You'll also get uh, a subtropical jet stream here. I believe that's what you call it. And that's one that kind of brings in a lot of moisture here. And they kind of combine in this region here. That's why usually this region right here is pretty much wetter than normal because both of your jet streams will kind of connect to each other here. So usually sometimes they could come from here, sometimes they will come from here and maybe connect in the plains. But overall, this is kind of your typical pattern during a La Nina winter here. And let's take a look through some models here. This is the CFS model here. This is your hot anomalies here. And as you can see here, it does show some ridging across the southeast United States. Although, if you kind of look at your black lines there, kind of more of a zonal flow pattern here of what we're seeing here. Although, some troughing might try to get into portions of North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, and Washington state. You can see an area of slightly below average height anomalies here. Well above average height anomalies kind of in the Pacific there. That can indicate some ridging that can develop across pretty much nearly the entire Pacific there. So that's kind of some good news there for us here in the United States because your cold air won't really quite go there. However, you don't really have much of the way of ridging anywhere in Canada here. So kind of most of your cold will kind of stick around in Canada, which I think will most likely happen this winter here. But we do have quite a bit of uncertainty with the NAO, which is pretty much over Greenland there. Actually shows some troughing over Greenland there. That can indicate where some of the cold air could go. However, we do have some good news here, and this is a pretty good agreement on the models. We'll likely be seeing a negative AO this winter here. Models in a pretty good agreement with that, so your cold air won't be sticking around kind of around the Arctic Circle here. Last winter, we had a record-breaking positive AO, and what that do is kept the cold air around the Arctic Circle pretty much the entire winter, even nearly the entire spring earlier this year. So we won't be seeing that happening this winter here, thankfully. Although there'll be some other factors that can lead us to be a little bit warmer. For example, you got the southeast ridge. Some models have been predicting that the southeast ridge may be strong. Some of them show it could be a little bit weak. That'd be an area to watch there as well. And let's take a look to some other things here, like the 2-meter temperature anomalies. And as you can see here, you do have some warmer than average temperatures across pretty much almost the entire United States. I highly doubt all of this here, although I do expect some areas in the United States to be warmer than normal, although you'll see my forecast in just a moment. Although the Northwest looks to be slightly cooler than average, but if you kind of get the picture here, some of your cold air may be able to stick around across Western Canada, maybe even the Northwestern United States, and it seems like a good chunk of it may stick around Greenland there. That's kind of the bad news there is your NAO. That's a positive NAO. That's where your cold air kind of sticks around Greenland, so that's not so much of good news there for the United States. Although there is some very high uncertainties about that as well, which one of those models showing a completely different story on that. And let's take a look into precipitation here. And as you can see here, it's dry across the southeast. It's also dry around California, which unfortunately falls in a pretty good agreement with drier than normal conditions across California. So California, hopefully you guys can get some rain during the fall because winter not looking to be quite your winter uh, for this upcoming winter. Although things could change there. But some other noticeable things. It's wetter than normal across the Northwest. It's also wetter than normal across, in general, the northern United States and also across the Mississippi Valley and the Tennessee Valley into the Ohio Valley as well. So this kind of indicates kind of an active pattern here, where again you'll have your polar jet stream will probably come in something like this here, and then your subtropical jet stream will probably come in over these regions here, bringing in some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico there. That can lead to a lot of rain across some of these regions here, and that's an area we definitely need to watch for. Let's move on to the Kansas model here. Probably the least likely solution here, showing for the Kansas model for precipitation, and probably the least accurate model on here that I'm going to show you guys here is the Kansas model. The northwestern United States, wetter than normal. However, the rest of the United States either average or drier than normal. I do agree with the southeastern United States being drier than normal, and maybe even to portions of California. However, I do disagree being drier than normal across portions of the northeastern United States, even across portions of the southern plains in the central plains states. I do disagree with those areas there being drier than normal. Although we'll find out on the next update, which should be happening later this week here, and see what the Kansas model may be showing on its next update. Keep in mind this model here updates once a month, and the CFS model updates about 2 to 3 times a day. So quite a big difference here. So the Kansas model has been updated back into September 1st, as you can see here, and it will update again on October the 1st, which should be happening later this week. And we'll look into that very soon. And here's your 2-meter temperature anomaly, so you can see warm across the entire United States. A very unlikely solution. However, again, probably a neutral to a positive NAO across Greenland, which is not good news. Good news here. This model is also indicating maybe potentially maybe a little bit of a strong negative AO. So that's some good news there. And unfortunately, you don't really have any ridging kind of put into place across the P&A region, which is typically in this region in here, kind of off the coast of Alaska and also Western Canada. That's your P&A region, and we have more troughing in those regions there. So we definitely need to keep an eye on that very closely there, and that'd be kind of one of the few factors that could make some big changes this winter here, and even onto forecasts there as well. So definitely gotta watch out for that. Here's your 500 millibar height anomalies. It does indicate maybe trying to get some troughing across the northern plains, maybe even to the upper Great Lakes as well. But in general, kind of almost a zonal flow pattern here, almost like your typical La Nina type of setup here. You can see here it's warm. You got warmer height anomalies across the south. It's more average across the north. Probably I will say some below average as well across the north, at least sort of there. But in general here, kind of showing mostly a zonal flow pattern there. Alright, let's move on to the JAM-SAC model here. This is the last model we'll be taking a look into today. There's some good news and bad news from this model here. So the good news is it's showing very warm to normal sea surface temperatures around Greenland, which is a good sign there may be some ridging trying to build up around Greenland. If that's the case, then we may be able to see some Greenland blocking, or we could see a negative NAO. And the JAM-SAC model also updates once a month, so keep in mind of that. So this was updated not too long ago. Also, some good news here: the P&A region, you do have a blob of warmer than average sea surface temperatures, which will indicate some ridging. We'll try to build into those regions where we'd be seeing some above average sea surface temperatures. Some bad news is, which is across the Gulf of Mexico and the East Coast here. As you can see here, we do see some warmer than average temperatures there, sea surface temperatures, I should say, across those regions there, which could indicate some ridging could get into those areas a little bit easier. So that's not so much of good news there. Although there is some slightly below average temperatures across the west coast there, which I find quite interesting there. Now let's take a look to some other graphics as well here. Let's take a look to precipitation here. And as you can see here, I think this is probably like the most likely solution here that could happen this winter. It's a little bit wetter than normal across the northwest of the United States. It's dry across portions of California, even including the southeast. Well above normal precipitation across the Tennessee Valley and the lower Ohio Valley regions, even including the Great Lakes. Definitely gotta watch for that area as well for the possibility for some flooding. And typically in some of these regions in there can get a lot of rain. And it's also pretty much the wettest time of year, and that's the winter time for those regions there. And you're talking about well above average rainfall. That's not quite a good sign there. So there could likely be some flooding into some of those regions. So definitely gotta watch out for that as well. It's also a little bit wetter than normal across the plain states as well. But overall, I do agree with the precipitation forecast there. Here's your surface air temperature anomalies, and like I've been saying about warmer than average uh, temperatures, kind of in the Gulf of Mexico and the East Coast, there's some strong ridging here. Now, this likely be overdone here with the ridging across the southeast. You can see here pretty much controls the 2/3 of the United States, which I highly doubt this solution here again. Likely overdoing that there, but you can see here around Greenland, there could be some Greenland blocking that could happen there. So that's kind of a good sign there. We can't quite see the AO from this graphic here, so that's kind of unfortunate there. So That's kind of off the list here for the JAM-SAC. Although you can see where most of your cold air kind of sticks around. It's actually across Western Canada and Alaska here. So we're going to watch for that very closely here. If we get a weak southeast ridge, most of this cold air can spill into the United States. And I think one of the biggest players this winter here is going to be that southeast ridge. And that kind of controls pretty much nearly the entire eastern United States. So we definitely got to watch out for that southeast ridge, although we'll have a better idea depending on sea surface temperatures here. But so far, it is about to go below average, which is kind of concerning because the JAM-SAC model is actually forecasting slightly above average sea surface temperatures across those regions, but it's actually going below average at this time here. So if that continues to be below average, we might not be able to see a southeast ridge this winter here. But models do indicate it will warm back up again, so it may go above average, but we'll see about that there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to my winter forecast here. This is your temperature forecast here for me. I do expect some below average temperatures across portions of central eastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, the Dakotas, Minnesota, central and northern Wisconsin, northern Iowa, and upper Michigan as well. Those are areas that we could likely be seeing some below average temperatures across those regions. Your light blue regions, this is where we'll be seeing some slight below average temperatures here, which includes anybody really from eastern Washington, Idaho, northeastern Oregon, into the southern two-thirds of Wyoming, northeastern Colorado, Nebraska, northern Kansas, central northern Missouri, most of Iowa, southern Wisconsin, most of Michigan, portions of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, northern Pennsylvania, central northern New York State, most of Vermont and New Hampshire, and Maine as well. Could likely be seeing some slight below average temperatures there. Now, anybody that's not coded in any color or in the EC region, EC means equal chances. This is where you'll be seeing at times some slight below average temperatures or some slightly above average temperatures. Well, kind of depending on your ridging, especially across the southeast ridge. So there'll be some flip flops with your temperatures in those regions there. Your light yellow region, or I'll just say yellow region, really across the south here, some slight above average temperatures. I think that will likely happen this winter here across those regions, which includes the desert southwest into the Southern Plains, into the southeastern United States. Then last but not least, Southern Texas and central Southern Florida. Those are areas that will likely be seeing some above average temperatures as well. Due to that, some of that ridge will likely be in place over those regions, especially over the Gulf of Mexico. So that's my temperature forecast. Let's move on to my precipitation forecast here. And as you can see here, the northwest United States will likely be seeing some slightly above average precipitation, although an upgrade may be needed, especially across the mountain regions. So we definitely got to watch out for that as well, although I am thinking about that. That slightly above average region does include central and northern Oregon, Washington, most of Idaho, western Montana, and northwestern Wyoming. Across the south here, the desert southwest into southern Texas, into the southeastern United States, this is where we'll be likely seeing some slight below average precipitation there, again due to some ridging. Although we may get this expanded into a little bit more to Northern California due to a better model agreement, but we'll watch out for that as well. And again, EC pretty much means the same thing like temperatures, but just precipitation. Your dark gray region, this is where we'll be seeing some above average precipitation, which includes a good chunk of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, most of Tennessee, Kentucky, into most of West Virginia, somewhere in Ohio, and western Virginia as well. Likely be seeing some above average precipitation, and watch out for possibility for some flooding for this winter into those regions. Excuse me. Now, areas in the light green here, which includes the entire northeastern United States, portions in the mid-Atlantic, uh, portions of the Midwest, back into portions of the Southern Plains. This is areas we'll be seeing some slightly above average precipitation in those regions there. So, likely be seeing an active pattern over these regions, areas in the green here. Likely be seeing multiple systems over and over again. So, yeah, on that. Let's move on to my snowfall forecast here, and which I went a little bit specific on this here, especially across the northwestern United States. So in the mountains of the northwestern United States, we'll likely be seeing some above average mountain snow this winter here. I think that's a very likely solution there for this winter. However, in the lower elevations, in the light blue area, those are areas we'll be likely be seeing for some slightly above average snowfall as well in those lower elevations, which also includes the central and northern plains, portions of the upper Midwest, even expanding southward into the lower Ohio Valley, then into the interior northeast as well. Then you got just dark blue area region, which includes the Great Lakes in the interior northeast. This is areas we'll be seeing some above average snowfall, especially around those Great Lake regions. I think we'll likely be seeing another above average lake effect snow season. And those sea surface temperatures across the Great Lakes are very warm. So that's why we'll be seeing some above average snowfall for the Great Lakes. Now in this black region in here, this is where areas don't have any snow on average and likely won't be seeing any snow in these regions. However, this is just a rough draft to keep in mind of that of areas that don't have any snow on average, although I think areas even north of this here, probably more into the L regions, probably getting those snow on average, but again, kind of just a rough draft there. So areas of the black don't get any snow on average. But areas in the light brown probably likely be seeing some slightly below average snowfall as well. In EC, areas are not coded in color. It's the same way putting into precipitation temperatures, but just in snowfall. Last but not least is our overall forecast here, which will go from west to east with this one here. So across the northwestern United States, it'll be stormy, at least at the lower elevations, but it'll be snowy in the mountains and those higher elevations. So when you get a storm system to go over these areas of here, you could get quite a bit of rain in those lower elevations, and you could see a lot of snow in the mountain regions. So to keep in mind of that. Areas in the white tier, which includes anywhere from northern California, southern Oregon, into northern Nevada, southern Idaho, most of Utah, southern Wyoming, Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, northern Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and southern Nebraska. Just basically your typical winter and average winter. It's basically what this here means here. And then across the entire southern United States, this is where we'll be seeing some warm and dry conditions due to submersion. It'll be across some of these regions in there. Then we go to the northern plain states here in the upper Midwest, or just say central and eastern Montana, central and eastern Wyoming, most of Nebraska, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, northern Missouri, northwestern Illinois, and including western Wisconsin. There will likely be seeing some Arctic blast. There can also be some clipper systems, and also as well as a couple of snowstorms. And if you don't know what clippers are, those are basically weak low pressure systems. Mainly they come from on a northwest flow. And they usually bring some snow with it, usually light snow, and they can put down a couple inches of snow most of the time. So that's basically what clippers mean there. That's what clippers mean. If you guys didn't know. Uh, Areas in the light green here, which includes portions of the Dixie Alley into the Carolinas, southeastern Tennessee, southern Virginia, into southern Delaware, in New Jersey, and southern Maryland. This is where we'll be seeing some stormy conditions. It'll also be warmer times depending on your southeast ridge. If it's going to be strong, it'll likely be warm, maybe potentially dry as well. If it's weaker, it may not be that warm into those regions. However, there can also be some severe weather in those regions in there, so keep in mind that. And also in typical La Nina years, usually severe weather is usually pretty active during La Nina years, so definitely need to watch out for some severe weather as well. Areas in the pink here, which includes most of Missouri, southwestern Illinois, northeastern Arkansas, northern Tennessee, most of Kentucky, southern Indiana and Ohio, West Virginia, northern Virginia, southern Pennsylvania, most of Maryland, northern Delaware, into southern New Jersey. Like we'll be seeing a winter battle zone here. This is kind of when you see some rain, sleet, freezing rain. I mean, just nearly any type of weather into those regions there, really depending on your southeast ridge. If it's going to be stronger, you guys could be seeing more warmer conditions. If it's weaker, you guys could potentially see some cooler conditions. And the precipitation there, it just really depends on the placement on the low pressure system. You guys will likely be seeing multiple low pressure systems that go over some of these same areas here over and over again here. And you could probably see some wintry mixes here and there as well. Areas in the red in here, which includes northern New Jersey, far eastern Pennsylvania, southern New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and the southeastern two-thirds of Massachusetts. This is where we'll be seeing some coastal storms when storm systems usually go over or nearby these areas. And here, usually they can be quite strong, can bring in quite a bit of wind, rain, maybe even for some snow as well. You can definitely get a decent amount of snow for those systems, but it really depends on the placement there. So I'll put you guys for now into coastal storm regions. Now, last but not least, is your black region. This is your jackpot region, which includes the interior northeast, portions of the Ohio Valley, even across the Great Lakes region as well. And typically, well, what jackpot means here, uh, this basically means you guys could likely be seeing some cold and also very snowy conditions here. Conditions looking to be right for multiple snowstorms to go over some of these same areas. Plus, you got a lot of lake effect snow that could be coming as well over these regions. It'll also be cold to keep in mind of that. So really, typically, jackpot means just cold and very snowy conditions there. Probably the best winter potentially of the country here will be areas in the black there. But anyways, guys, that is my forecast there. If you guys want to know or get notifications when I'll upload my next video or my next winter forecast, you can hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification, so that way you never miss one of my uploads or the next winter forecast as well. And if you guys do like this video or agree with the forecast, hit that like button there. If you guys do have any questions with my forecast here, you can put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.